Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. There is no turning back now. Well, finally we got here. I managed to repaint the Parasaurolophus by Elite Creature Collectibles. On these images here, you guys can see the original factory paint job that was very pale and without almost any dimensions. And some images here I included when I painted the eye, just to further emphasize how desaturated the original factory paint job was. And I just wanted to set the record straight, because I heard another YouTuber saying that the piece had gloss size. It actually had decals, which I scratched off and repainted. By the way, thank you so much for your patience, everyone. I know it took a while. But this was a massive undertaking, and even though I decided that I will overpaint the original factory paint job, that didn't make my job easier whatsoever. And here I included a photo of the original Stan Winston maquette that was displayed at the BFI exhibition years ago. So you can see how, in comparison, faded and pale that one was. Compared to what I've done here, which is more grungy and a little bit more organic looking. So my decision to paint over the original factory paint job, in fact, probably made it harder in a way for me, as the spots on the maquette that the factory did lacked any organic flow or naturalism. They were just these kind of same size dots next to each other that made the piece look like a toy. Now, I don't want to be too hard on anyone, as it could have been worse, and considering the complexity of the paint scheme of the original created by Stan Winston Studio, what Elite Creature Collectibles achieved is still an impressive feat to behold. And as we move to the buttock area, I just wanted to include some images here that how deep I got into every detail, every crevice of the piece, using the references that were at my disposal. And as we move further into the details, you clearly can see, following the references, I pronounced all the individual scales on the back as it was on the original Stan Winston maquettes, corrected some of the colors, blended them and corrected some of the values, deepened some of the colors or completely changed them following the references. I don't want this video to be an hour long, so I'm gonna talk about details, processes and references very quickly. From the very beginning, I decided that I would like to reproduce the bow paint scheme that was designed by the Stan Winston Studio artisans, more specifically this look here. As you guys can see, it has a way more saturation and deeper colors. They did create a female version as well, which had a more subdued and desaturated color scheme, not unlike the animals in Jurassic Park, their first film. As I mentioned in my previous video when I did the review of the maquette, I had the good fortune to see one of the maquettes in real life back in 2019 at the London BFI, where there was a prop store exhibition. And this beautiful, gorgeous piece was displayed amongst many others. It was super exciting to see it, and I took many photos. However, lighting conditions on those photos were not the best. But thankfully Prop Store has some archival photos of the piece on their website. On these images you can clearly see how colors faded, changed or simply disappeared completely from the surface. Or see that this particular maquette was actually quite crudely painted. And I immediately knew that I would need to use several different references in order to achieve the look that I wanted. Therefore, I used images found of the maquette in books, photos from the Prop Store website, images from Stambinstone School of Character Arts, and some very old photos that I have received from a friend who was kind enough to send me these very special images that were taken of the maquette by Paul Mayas back in the day. Then there was the factory paint job that I had to work around, making it disappearing at places and trying to blend it into the paint, work to the best of my abilities to make it look natural and organic. I'm gonna say though that the more you study the reference images of the Stambinstone Studio maquettes, the more colors, transitions and layers of work you will discover. It's absolutely mad. Even at places you would think it's quite simple, then you take a closer look and you discover, nah, they individually pronounced every little scales, or there is a little green here or more dots there. Just crazy amount of work, crazy stuff. Every time I thought that, okay, I'm done now, I realized, no, there is way more to do. In the end, I did improvise a lot, working around the factory paint job, following the references as close as I could, while also making it my own. I feel I definitely learned a huge amount and possibly became a better painter at the end of it. It was quite frustrating at times, but overall I had a massive amount of fun. It was challenging, but I'm quite proud of what has been achieved here. I tried to make the spots look as organic as possible and as random as possible. I found that it's very important to make the creature look realistic and alive. I'm not sure if you guys can pick up on it, but I did apply a different type of varnish on the nails. It's I think maybe satin varnish, just to make a slight differentiation from the skin that has to be more matte, although I gave it a slight little shine. And here the horn or tusk or whatever that is on its head, once again I gave it some shine. Just a little bit. I did subdue it with some matte in the end because I didn't want it too shiny. Just to make it different from the rest of the skin and the eye. And here, I don't know if the camera picks up on it, but I applied some high gloss in the mouth area and some in the nostril. Just some, saliva and breathing residue or whatnot. I worked a whole lot on the face as well. There is a lot of different transitions there that wasn't there on the Elite Creature Collectibles release, and need to deepen some shadows and make it look more realistic. And I'm particularly proud of the eye. Here, as you guys can see, I went into the crevices as well, just to break up those colors, give it individual scaling to emphasize this giraffe pattern. And I went into the stripes as well, because The stripes, I've seen other people, you know, painting these mockets, and everyone is doing an amazing job. I was very, very inspired by some of my friends, especially a guy named IngenFX on Instagram. He's a very good friend of mine, Josh. He was sending me some reference images as well, and his mock-up particularly is really beautiful as well. But I've noticed people weren't going into the stripes and they left the stripes untouched, when in fact there is some mottling going on in there. It's not completely clear, and here in the tail is an excellent example. The area between the dark stripes on many mockets I've seen is just the same base coat color, and that's a mistake, because actually that there is a difference there. There is a little bit of green in there and a lot of mottling going on, and a lot of, you know, like wandering spots are also present in that skin texture. And once again, we're going back to the feet here. I added some dirt there, once again, just to make it more realistic a little bit. I'm sure you guys seen when I included the image, when I went into these like skin crevices on the buttocks area to create this illusion of tired skin that has been folded like too many times, you know, that happens to leather, and all of the back area, emphasizing the stripes on the legs, creating the stripes on the front of the legs, which weren't even present on the original mock-up release by Elite Creature Collectibles, just a couple of dots. And also giving some mottling and texturing to the underside of the creature, because that white in the belly area is not undisturbed. There is a lot of colors there as well. And some more detail shots, as you guys can see. I observed it on the references that the orange area that covers the upper side of the belly, there is some green introduced on the top of the pelvis area on the back, and I brought that green forward. And here is one major difference from the authenticity of the original Stan Winston mock-up and this one here, is that I changed the shoulders because I had to, in a way, hide the weird looking dots that the Elite Creature Collectibles factory paint job was, and so I created this stronger fading pattern there that I brought down to the arm, as you guys can see. I'm quite liking it, so you know, I try to make it my own as well a little bit, but staying within the confines of the references that I was using. And as I said it in the other video, this sculpture and design is probably my favorite that Stan Winston Studio produced for the films. It's just so beautiful and bold. The lines, the structure are just incredibly appealing, and it was an honor and a dream coming true to paint this. I spared no effort to get all the little details in and do justice to this magnificent sculpture. Just really wanted to let you know, guys, that now I have an Instagram page for my painting. It's called Monster Kid Customs. You can follow me there, and future projects and past projects. Thank you so very much for being here again, and I see you on the next one.